Hi, it's Laura with Following the Paper Trail, and I'm back with a new paper bag album that I want to show you. I did this as a class on Ustream several weeks ago now, and I promised everybody on Ustream that I'd go ahead and do it as a YouTube video as well. I know there are a lot of you who cannot watch my Ustream videos. If you're not familiar with it, go to my blog at www.followingthepapertrail.blogspot.com. Click on the Ustream logo on my right-hand sidebar, and it'll take you right to my channel. I have over 130 videos over there. They're a little bit longer, but I do know some people are having difficulties viewing them, so I decided I'm going to start doing some YouTube videos of some of them. I haven't been doing my kits because my kits are selling out before I have a chance to do a video. And also, for those of you who aren't aware, I do have a new website now. I'm no longer using Etsy, so you can go over to my blog and you'll find the link to my website, and that's where all my patterns and kits are. I do have some kits still available for actually this one right here, and I do have the pattern available for this one. If you don't want to figure it out from the video, you can purchase the pattern over on my website. So there's the commercial. We'll be over and done with that. But this one, again, is using a different method of using paper bags. Now, you can use just the plain old paper bags that you get in the grocery store. I tend to like to use the Recollections one. Is it Recollections or Celebration? The Michaels versions. There are several other party stores that carry paper bags and that sort of thing. But I like to use these. They just have a nicer finish. But the ones you get at the grocery store, the inexpensive ones, work perfectly well as well. So let me show you this album real quick. This one I just have tied closed. On this one, I also use a handled treat bag as the cover. You could cover this just in regular paper or cardstock, but it just made for a cute album. You can also have it finish up to where you just decorate your cover vertically. You can also, here's another one that I have it horizontally. Either way works just fine. But it opens up. This actually happens to be a combination of Bow Bunny, Barefoot and Bliss paper, and Mykonos from Seven Gypsies. So in here you have some flap space. Then there's an area for a large a pocket here, and this is actually where the paper bag is, where this pocket slides into. And between the two large pockets of the paper bag, you'll also have a small pocket here that's great for a photo album. So you can have a photo here, actually photo on the back. So as is typical, my mini albums tend to be interactive, and they also have a lot of real estate in them. Fun paper. This is the one I still have some kits available. The paper has been back ordered, so the paper's running a bit behind, but I will have it this week, and these kits are shipping out this week. So anyway, there is what the album looks like. So let me show you how you make it. So you're going to start out with your paper bag to begin with. You know how they lay flat? Here's the bottom. What you're going to want to do is kind of roll that flap around to the front. Give it a good crease with your bone folder. That gives you so where it makes a T. Now, at this point, we're going to open our bag up. And we're going to cut right down that center fold line of the gusset. It doesn't have to be a pretty cut because this will never show. So if you're not perfect, it's okay. And you're going to cut right down to that intersection, right where all those folds intersect. So you'll cut on that side. You're going to flip it over, making all sorts of crinkly noises, aren't I? And I'm going to cut down this other side just to that intersection. Don't cut past that intersection. Okay, so I've cut it just right to that intersection. Okay, then I'm going to crinkle the bag some more, close it up, and then what you can do is take, and where you've cut it, open it up, give it a nice crease with your bone folder there, making sure not to rip your edges. Okay, so here's the bag opened up. Here's those gussets. Here's the other side. There's our bottom right there. So we're going to work on this side, and what you're going to do then is you're going to cut the width of your bag down to whatever height. If you want to leave it at this height, you can leave it at this height. Now I'm cutting it down to, let's see, I think I cut it down to, what did I cut it down to? I cut it down to 7 inches. So I want to cut off a portion of the ends. And it's easier to do on most cutters if you do this after it's open. Otherwise, you're cutting through an awful lot of layers. So let me just cut these off at that 7 inches is what I'm using on these bags. Now, it could vary depending on what type of bag you're using as to what you want to cut that down. So you just need to pay attention to what dimension you're using for this cut. If you want to have shorter pages, you cut it shorter. If you want it longer, you leave it to the full length. So, but I've cut these down to 7 inches. And then you also want to measure your width. So you need this dimension and you need this dimension. And you're going to cut cardstock that matches your bags. I'm happening to be using black bags here, so I'm going to use black cardstock. I'm then going to apply the cardstock to these gussets. Now, when I put my adhesive on, what I want to do is I'm going to want to run a line of adhesive right next to those cut parts of my the gusset of the bag, and then I'm going to run another line of adhesive that's about 1/2 inch in, and I'll show you why I'm not doing it right at that fold edge once I get this piece put on there. So then I'm going to line this up with my fold sides, and if I've measured correctly, it should just fit right on there perfectly. So I still have my paper bag pocket, and the reason why I've had you come in 1/2 inch on each side there is that it still has some breathing room. If this were attached right tight up against there, you wouldn't have as much of give to your paper bag. So that allows some of that gusseting, so you can have maybe an embellished tag in there and it'll fit just fine. So I'm going to repeat that over here on this opposite side of my bag. Right next to the cut line, 1/2 inch in from the fold. Next to the cut line. Now make sure your adhesive doesn't fall off the edge. I've been known to fall off the edge with my adhesive, and so if you do, kind of just make sure it's not hanging over the side, because otherwise it's going to glue your pocket shut. And I'm going to take my facing for my bag, lay it right on there so it lines up perfectly. You don't want to cover over your fold. I might have cut this bag a little bit short, so I'll trim that up a little bit later. So it should look like this, to where you have that little bit of gap there, and then you're going to turn it over. Okay, there's my bottom of my bag, and here's the two facings of the bag. Now at this point I'm going to want to fold this in half and give a nice crease to that center bottom. So then I can open it up again. Now these things make perfect little pockets. So if I attach them down on each side, that's what created those pockets that we can put Photomat's tags in. So what I've got right here is something to cover over that and to create the pocket so I don't lose the width, because if I run adhesive here and here and attach it to the bag itself, I don't get as much width. If I attach an extra piece that has little tabs, that ends up, after I've punched the edges the same size as my bottom, these little tabs can wrap around the bottom like so. Cut these a little bit tight, so it just wraps around the bottom like so, and it attaches down to my bag. Here I've got one already done here on this one, so you can see how it's attached down to the bag. I then put a photo mat on it, and I also mat this up as well. Where's one that doesn't have paper on it? Do they all have paper on them? They do. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing is attaching this to my bag bottom, and I run it right next to my fold, and right next to the edge of the bottom, next to the fold, next to the edge, and I'm going to run this way as well, maybe throw a couple in the middle just cause, and then I'm going to attach this, and I'm going to center it so that this fold right here, let me get on camera, this fold right here aligns with this fold in the center. Easiest way to do that is go ahead and fold this in half and then center it vertically as well. Stick that side down, flip this over, stick that side down. Give it a good press, and then I can just take my little tabs and peel off the double stick tape that I have on there. Wrap those puppies around, and then I can stick the tabs down to my paper bag. So then that creates a pocket that is the full width of my bag. So we've got the full width. So we'll repeat that over here on this side. Oh, I just love having fake nails on again because it doesn't peel my tape off very well. So I just wrap those little puppies around, stick it down to my bag, give it a good, and so then I have full width pockets on each side. Give it a fold again. Always give a good bone folder press to it. So here's my page unit. So then I'm going to make as many page units as I want to have in my album. Now I use 4 paper bags, and 1 paper bag makes one of these units. So I end up with 8 pockets on my album. So what's going to happen next is I also have a flap that I need to attach to my unit on each side. So the flaps are cut the same width as your paper bag, and then I cut them so they're about 3/4 of an inch shorter, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch shorter than the bag itself. So then I've got some hinges that I've cut, and then I put the tape on one side of the fold on this side and one side of the fold on the other side. So then I'm just going to peel these off. Thank goodness that videos on YouTube can now go longer than 10 minutes. Okay, so the side that is up right now is going to stick down. Actually, the side that's down is going to stick down. Aligning my folds up is going to stick down to my face. This is that facing I put on my bag. Now the sticky side is up on this side, and it's going to stick. I'm going to place my flap, lining up my edges, and I will just fold that around to stick my flap down. So then my flap is attached. So let's do that again on the other side. I can, since it's not directional, I can just flip it over so I'm on the same side. So I just take my sticky off of both sides. It won't even come off with the X-Acto blade. Alrighty, there we go. Okay, so this, I'm going to have the side that's on the back side is going to attach to my page, lining up that fold. Let me turn this so I can see better. I'm going to line that up with my fold, like so. Take my flap, lay it on there so that everything lines up, roll that down, stick it down. So then I have my pretty punched edge on the top, and I also have a pretty punched edge underneath here. The next step is going to be putting photo mats then on top of my cardstock pieces as well as my paper bag pieces. Now on these on the inside, I cut them about 1/2 inch longer than what's exposed here, and it just tucks down inside the bag. On these, you can do it one of 2 ways. If you have a punched edge, I have it to where on some of them I cut it to where it slips underneath this punched edge, or on some of them I have it cut short of the punched edge. For instance, on this one, I cut it short because I wanted those waves to show on that white background. So I cut my photo mat so it's short of that edge. And I did the same thing inside. It has the punched edge on both sides on the pages. And then when you get over to the paper bag pages, you can see how I've tucked it down inside the pocket. I've also put a little matting on these, what was originally the bottom of the bag. So then those little mats go in there. So you'll just cut your mats so they're slightly smaller and they fit inside all of your pockets. On this one that I'm working on right now, I've cut these so that my paper slips underneath that edge. It just depends on the look that you want with your album, and you can choose either method. Now the next step is, here I've already got 3 of my units or 3 paper bags hooked together, and now I have this last paper bag that I need to hook on there. And what I'm using on that is one of my jointed hinges. Those of you who watch my Ustream are very familiar with these. I've been using these for quite some time now. And what these do is have a gap in there like of about a 1/4 of an inch. And what that does is it gives some breathing room for when you have embellishments or lots of mats or that sort of thing, so they don't all get squished. So you're going to cut your mat that has a joint in the center of approximately a 1/4 of an inch. Obviously you can make it wider if you want to. Just be aware, the wider it is, the less stable your album is going to be. So I tend to not to want to go more than a 1/4 of an inch in my jointed hinges. What I'm going to do then is have, and I use score tape, but any kind of really strong double stick adhesive will work. I put that on each side of my joint in the center, and so I'm going to peel back the paper off of one, and now I'm going to stick it to along this spine edge of my paper bag assembly here. I'm going to align the spine of the joint to the spine of the bag, sticking that down. Okay, so I've got that joint on this side, and now this side of my joint is going to attach to the rest of my book. And these just go between each of the units. I'll show you that here in just a sec. Let me get this one stuck down. These jointed hinges have been working really well for me. I started doing those last November on one of my Christmas albums, and it's been really nice to have that space in there. I have another video that I'm doing later today that uses these in a slightly different fashion, and I'm going to show you a different way of binding them on the napkin fold. So here you can see the 3 joints that are between each of the paper bag assemblies. We then also need a flap. This is how we're going to attach our cover. So we have the similar type of hinged joint. So it's the same on this side, and on this side I've made it wider to create a pocket when it attaches to my cover. For instance, on the inside of this one, it attaches to my cover. I've covered it with some pattern paper, but then it creates a mat that I can, or a pocket that I can put a photo mat or tag down inside there, and it attaches then my cover to my album. So I'm going to take the skinny side of my cover attaching hinge joint, and I'm going to attach it in the same way, lining up with the edge and the fold. So there you can see that's the part that's going to attach. This side I've already put my score tape. Now I typically don't use a tape type adhesive to attach to create a pocket because your tags can get stuck in it, but I want this really strong score tape to attach my covers. Now on my covers, what I've done is I've used just a regular craft kind of bag, and what you can do with these is basically cut them in half, similar to what we did, but go ahead and cut all the way down, and then you can use each half of your bag to then just wrap your chipboard. I have done wrapped covers several times on other YouTube videos, so you can check out the YouTube videos for how I actually wrap this. And then on the inside, I went ahead and covered it with some of my pattern paper. At that point, then I can take and peel off my U-shaped, super sticky score tape to it, and peel off the backing of that. And then I'm going to align this edge right here with that spine edge on my album. So stick that down. Make sure it's attached. Always a good idea to use your bone folder, not just your fingers. So then, so you can see how those hinged joints give you some breathing room inside your album for all your embellishments and that sort of thing. I'll put tape on this one, and then I'll be able to attach my other cover as well. Now, you can go ahead and leave this. I don't think it looks all that great. What I do with mine then is I cover it with something like this one is covered with some sticky back canvas, which is a Ranger product. It's from Claudine Helmuth's studio. Sticky back canvas. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets. It comes in 8.5 by 11. It comes in white, and it comes in natural. And you're just going to cut a piece that is the height of your spine, and then you want it to wrap around to your covers, probably a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then you can cover over that part with some pattern paper. For instance, on this one, what I did is I covered it over with some ribbon. Other options, if you can't find the sticky backed canvas, which is super strong, there's also a product for bookbinding. It's a canvas tape. This also is really strong. It's specifically for binding the spines of books. So super strong, and it looks nice too because it's a canvas look. I like to have that kind of matte canvas look. Also, on these kinds of tapes, what you can do with them, you can stamp on them. You can stick them down to a non-stick surface, stamp on them, color them, that sort of thing. You just can't heat it with your heat gun to dry it if you spray it or something. But something like this and the sticky back canvas, you can color them with mists or inks or that sort of thing. But essentially, that's all there is to doing what I'm calling the split paper bag mini album. So it's kind of a combination between using cardstock to make your pages and the flaps so you can get more real estate, and then using paper bags and using the bottom of the paper bag to make a little pocket. So if you want to, you can go back onto my Ustream and look for the split paper bag in the archives. It's from a few weeks ago, so you can watch the full 2-hour long, well, actually it's 4 hours because it's 2 parts of this album if you want to do that, or figure it out from this, how to do it from this video. Or you can also, I do have the pattern on my website at followthepapertrailwithlaura.com is my website address. But these are tons of fun, super fast, super easy, different way to use paper bags. So hopefully you'll have fun doing that and enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a bunch.